Benjamin Netanyahu spoke to the United States Congress yesterday. Let's see what happened. And obviously people are chirping about like not Benjamin Netanyahu putting his on the Constitution and basically dog walking the entirety of Congress, damn near the entirety of Congress. But also people are worried about the protests against billions of unlimited dollars going to Israel, which is crazy. Think about that. Like people are more mad that American citizens are burning the American flag, which is constitutionally protected as the founders intended, and not mad about a foreign leader coming to the country and being like, yeah, you got to deal with these fucking rabble rousers in your nation. You got to arrest them because, you know, they're hurting my feelings. Like, it's insane.
Begin this hour with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's controversial visit to Washington. Today, he will meet separately with President Biden and Vice President Harris after a defiant and forceful speech to Congress yesterday. He promised total victory over Hamas and slammed protesters as, quote, useful idiots of Iran. Outside the Capitol, demonstrators upset about the visit and the war in Gaza clashed with police.
And Nate, good morning to you. Netanyahu's fiery speech to a rare joint meeting of Congress lauded the U.S. for its support of Israel, but tried to argue for more support for the war against Hamas. It happened as protests gathered in Tel Aviv, here in Washington, and even inside the House chamber, where dozens of Democrats boycotted the address.
The hands of the Jewish state will never be shackled. Israel will always defend itself.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended his months-long unrelenting war against Hamas.
We're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you. Our enemies are your enemies. Our fight is your fight, and our victory will be your victory.
Michigan Democrat Rashida Tlaib held a sign which read "War Criminal," and dozens of lawmakers boycotted the address altogether.
Well, I think it's important not to legitimize a leader who has attacked democracy, who has contributed to so much pain and so much discord.
Outside the Capitol, a crowd of thousands of war protesters gathered.
How can a war criminal just walk into U.S. Congress? I mean, most of U.S. Congress is comprised of war criminals. That's what the American government does as well. I think the most like shitty aspect of it, this is a foreign nation. This is a foreign national who is from a foreign country that is entirely reliant on the United States of America and the Western world to like exist, really. And he's like coming to the American Congress to chirp about American citizens to American politicians. I don't understand how people do not have this like genuine resentment and anger to the arrogance and entitlement demonstrated by Israel on a daily basis. Like, especially this act, just like it just shocks me that like we are using American tax dollars instead of like, you know, fixing our roads, fixing our healthcare, like actually having healthcare, adequate healthcare, like housing homeless people, making education free, like all of this stuff, all of these dollars could be better served. And that's like gross enough as it is. But then we're also using tax dollars to arrest the people protesting that shit, arresting people protesting this like ridiculous situation. Americans that are actually demonstrating and using their First Amendment rights that's constitutionally protected. And the fucking dumbass cucked right-wingers are complaining about flag burning more than they're complaining about this foreign leader being like, arrest these fuckers who are talking shit about my country. It's the best country ever. Is it fair to be angry at both actions? Why? Why would you be angry at one action over the other? Because if your goal here is to be like America first, then you should recognize that burning the American flag is a constitutionally protected act in the United States of America that has been defended successfully in the Supreme Court. That's an act of protest. It is, in my opinion, a patriotic act. People that don't care about America, that are American citizens themselves, don't want to change the trajectory of the United States of America. These are people who do care about America. These are people who are saying enough is enough, not in our name, not with our tax dollars. I'm sick and tired of it. The notion that like these supposedly America First assholes are more mad about like Americans protesting the American government's misuse of tax dollars to participate actively in a genocidal foreign nation's actions. That includes like defiling a replica of a fucking bell. Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, this is so silly. Getting mad about this is the dumbest fucking thing you can do. And it's the only thing you can do, as a matter of fact, because you can't get mad about Benjamin Netanyahu flexing his on the American Congress yesterday, getting a standing ovation. It's just so hollow. I need to sound this out. Crying about a replica being tagged as peak disrespect to the U.S. when a foreign leader from a nation that takes their tax dollars and demands more with peak entitlement who just bullied the American Congress and received a standing ovation is hilarious. The leader of the most entitled welfare state just yelled at the U.S. Congress for not giving him more money and received a bipartisan standing ovation, and you're crying about a replica bell getting tagged. Anyone's disrespecting the U.S., it's Bibi and his arrogance. That's a good one. So yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu addressed Congress. He basically fucking lied the entire time. Like, the media kind of addressed like some of the worst aspects of his lies, including, but not limited to, the restriction on aid, like the actual restrictions that Israel has placed on humanitarian aid, which is a telltale sign, like a clear-cut definitional war crime, straight up. No ands, ifs, or buts. And he just basically lied about that, despite the fact that every single on-the-ground charity, on-the-ground humanitarian aid worker, every NGO that works in Gaza, every international organ of justice that has looked into the matter has openly stated that Israel is deliberately refusing to bring in as much aid as possible. And yet they just keep lying about it. And I guess like the media considers that to be a bridge too far in terms of like some of the lies that Benjamin Netanyahu presented to Congress. But I just can't get over how unimaginably gross this entire situation was. I don't know. I felt like I was taking crazy pills watching this shit yesterday. It felt manic, like a serious vibe shift. Okay. It felt very weird, but it doesn't seem like Americans care about it all that much, because Republicans immediately shifted their attention to the protesters that were like, hey, our tax dollars are going to Israel and we don't fuck with that. And also protesters that burning the American flag. And to me, I think that that's really strange. It is the most American thing you can do. It is constitutionally protected. It's free speech. I don't give a shit. Stop crying. Let's actually talk about the strong comments from Kamala, which is absolutely unacceptable, in my opinion. It is cowardly. It is a complete capitulation to right-wing framing on this issue. You dropped the fucking ball. Okay, my expectation is not for her to come out and be like, it's awesome to burn the American flag. Okay, you're not supposed to say that. Obviously, no person who wants to win the presidential race is ever going to say that. But you're not supposed to talk about that, dumbass. What is wrong with you? It's just so stupid to take ownership over this and to just like finger wag at Republican framing on the issue. This was an absolute dunk. This was an opportunity for her to turn around and be like, Benjamin Netanyahu is Trump in Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu is as unpopular as Trump is in Israel. It seems he's more popular with the Republican Party than he is in his own country. The speech that he delivered to the American Congress was gross and filled to the brim with lies, just like Donald Trump. Okay? Israel is our ally. We are strongly committed to defending Israel, and Benjamin Netanyahu is not the right person for the job, as the Israeli citizens have declared time and time again. So why should we allow him to lie to the American Congress and get a standing ovation from the Republican Party? That's it. Don't talk about the fucking protesters, you dumbass. What's wrong with you? Are you stupid? Like, the instincts that these people have blow my fucking mind. Like, taking ownership over the right-wing framing on the matter immediately, that like she couldn't even do the Nancy Pelosi liberal Zionist line. Yesterday at Union Station in Washington, D.C., we saw despicable acts by unpatriotic protesters and dangerous hate-filled rhetoric. Like, did a Republican write this? Did Matt Walsh write this for you? I condemn any individuals associating with a brutal terrorist organization. Graffiti and rhetoric is abhorrent, and we must not tolerate it in our nation. And it's the worst part about this is that Democrats have this instinct, and they do it all the time. And all it does is give more ammunition to the right. It's like when you sign these messaging bills, right? But being like, oh, socialism is bad. We voted. Like Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic caucus votes on a messaging bill saying America will never be a socialist nation. And it's like, hey, stupid. They call you a socialist. You're just basically saying this thing that they call us is bad, and we agree it's bad. They're never going to look at that and go, see, they signed a messaging bill that says socialism is bad, so I guess they're not socialists. They're just calling you communists and Marxists and socialists anyway. Stop leaning into this dumb fuck bullshit. Why are you voting on a bill that says you suck shit? Why are you openly calling the right-wing framing on this matter when your fucking party, half of the members in your own goddamn party, had the instinct not to fucking go to this meeting? It's so stupid. Now you just look like Biden 2.0. You had an opportunity genuinely build on the youth momentum. And now all you've done is cut that. And before people say, oh, Hasan, this is not that significant. Like, this is not that significant. I know, but it's significant in key states that they have to win. All this does is basically heighten the right-wing framing on the issue. And nobody is going to talk about Benjamin Netanyahu's speech. Nobody's going to talk about how much he lied. Nobody's going to talk about how he is dick-riding Trump into oblivion and desperately expecting him to win the presidency. Like, he went to fucking Mar-a-Lago, man. He's going to his house. Benjamin Netanyahu is flying to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the fucking ring. And these dumb fucks are busy talking about protesters. Are you stupid?